Welcome to Open House at San Francisco Girls School. My name is Abby Miller-Gudich, and I'm the founding director of admissions. Thank you so much for joining us virtually this evening. We are so excited to showcase our program for you tonight. You will have the opportunity to pop into our classrooms and see our teachers engaging students in a mini lesson. I hope you'll take the time to observe how they interact with students, as well as the amazing curriculum that they're offering. Keep those questions in mind because there will be a chance to answer them at the end of the event tonight. You will also have the opportunity to hear from our students directly about their experience at San Francisco Girls School. We want you to know how they're feeling about being the founding members of our community and also how they're bonding with one another. It'll be really exciting to see. I'm also a product of all-girls education, and my education was completely transformative and gave me every opportunity to grow into my fullest potential. I see our students every day committed to their academics, each other, and really growing and changing each week. I'm also very delighted to be able to kick off our event with our head of school, Dr. Laura Blankenship, who will share with you her mission and vision for San Francisco Girls School. We are really excited about what we're doing here, and we're excited to partner with you throughout the admissions process to ensure all your questions get answered and that you feel you have the best possible experience with us. Thank you and enjoy your night.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Laura Blankenship, head of school at San Francisco Girls School, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our virtual open house. A year ago, we were still just a vision, some stuff on paper that we were just thinking about. And now we've developed a full program and we're here at school in person. And I hope that you will have the opportunity to come see us in person if you haven't already. But this virtual presentation will give you a good sense of what our students are like, what our faculty are like, and what the school feels like. Our students have had the opportunity to do so many things already in just the first few weeks of school. We've seen them grow and develop and really start to speak up. And we've put in front of them so many role models that they can learn from and as they continue to develop their skills. We've had 12 speakers in the first 3 months of school. These speakers have come from many fields and many different disciplines and have had many different pathways into their careers. And this has shown our students that there are lots of different ways to get to where they want to be. And they really understand the path that they want to take and how they want to get there. And they can see how to overcome some of the obstacles that they might face. And that's been really important to their growth and development. Two things that people always ask me about the school are, what's so special about an all-girls school? And what's so special about your incoming class? All-girls schools are wonderful places. I was first introduced to them about 20 years ago when I landed at Bryn Mawr College to work in their IT department. And I'd had this experience from being in a technology department my whole life and trying to work my way through being a technologist, of being the only person, the only woman in the room sometimes, or one of very few women, and being spoken over or ignored. And when I came to Bryn Mawr, I discovered I was surrounded by all these girls and young women who were not afraid to be themselves. They were not afraid to speak up. They were just who they wanted to be. And that was such a breath of fresh air. And I would say that that's also what's special about our incoming class, our class of 2025. When I met them a year ago, I could see this little spark of people who wanted to be themselves, of girls who wanted to try to figure things out for themselves and not be put in a box. And that was what I saw at Bryn Mawr College, was a bunch of women who didn't want to be put in a box. It's what I saw the spark of in our incoming class and what I see developing right now. They want to be their authentic selves, and we're giving them the opportunity to do that. We're providing a program that will help them figure out who they are, what they want to be, without the limitations of gender. And so I'm very excited to be able to work with them, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do when they've done so much already in just the first few months. I also have to thank our parents and whole community who've been here to celebrate and help our students become who they want to be and they're part of our community as well, and I hope that you'll have the opportunity to meet some of them. And I know you're going to see the work of our tremendous faculty and staff who have created an environment that our students can really thrive in, and you'll get to see a slice of that today. I'm thrilled that you're here, and I hope you have a wonderful virtual experience and that you will come to visit us in person soon. Thank you so much.
I'm Marty Hoyt. I am the math teacher here at San Francisco Girls School, and I'm very excited to have you all here joining us. And a little bit about myself. I am a very hands-on, discussion-based teacher. I think that most students can learn through exploration, figuring stuff out with themselves, trying something, testing something, breaking something, see if it always works, that type of thing. I'm very much open to questions and feedback and curiosity. I think those are incredibly important. Some of my dreams for my students here at this school, I would love for them to be able to redefine what it really is to be a mathematician, to not just think about what they have typically seen as mathematicians, but to see themselves reflected in the definition of being a mathematician. And to do that, I think they need to be able to see math as not a list of algorithms, not a list of set procedures that they have to follow, rote memory, formulaic types of mathematics. I think math should be fluid. It should be creative. It should be something that they can bend and that they can test, and to see what works and what doesn't work, what's true, what's not true, as opposed to what's right and what's wrong. So those are my goals for my students here, and I'm very excited to see them on their journey as they're moving towards that goal. Hey, how are you guys doing? Good. Yay! Welcome to math. We are going to do an experiment today. So we're going to look at speed. What do you guys know about speed? It's fast. Yes. How long it travels. Vicki. How quick something goes. How do we measure speed? Miles per hour. So you need a what and a what then? We need distance and time. So if I'm walking, am I walking very fast? No. Am I walking faster or slower now? So I'm covering a certain distance in a certain time, right? So we're going to measure some speed. We're going to measure like our speed, and we're going to measure some car speed for a project that we're going to be doing. Sound good? Yeah. All right. So we're going to need this cool thing called a CBR. And this CBR, if you guys can hear it tick, do you guys know what it's doing right now? This little calculator-based Ranger. It's sending out what? Sound wave bouncing off of Taylor right now and coming back. And what is it doing with that little sound? Does anyone know? It's measuring the distance. So like it bounces off you and comes back. It knows the speed of sound, and it can calculate how long it took to bounce off you and come back. It can calculate like how far you are. And if you're moving, it can take a bunch of those calculations and figure out your change in distance. Measure the speeds of these cars and or spiders and or weird robots that we... Whoa. He likes to talk. We're going to measure the speeds of these guys. I'm going to walk you through how to measure... we're going to call him Molly. We're going to measure the speed of him first, and then I'm going to send you guys out to kind of figure out the speeds of these guys. Does that make sense? All right. So let's find the speed of this cute, adorable little robot. So I'm going to now point it at the robot. Why? Ooh, say that again louder, Marta. For the noise to bounce off the robot. If I pointed this at the ceiling, what is it measuring? If you start walking this way and that way, is it going to tell you how fast you're going? What does it need to be pointed at? You. And you have to kind of be careful because it has like this cone effect when you're experimenting with it, so you really kind of want to get it focused as close as possible, and you don't want it pointing down or too far up, right? So we're going to try to point it like right at this little guy, and we're going to see if it picks him up. Is it picking him up? Yes. How far away is he? 0.4. So like a little less than half a foot, right? Okay. I have his little controller right here. Marta, you want to push play this time? All right. Why should I move the yardstick? We don't want him running over that. So I'm going to move him forward he's off. Help if he's on. There we go. I'm going to move him forward. There we go. Yes, he's adorable. All right, but we're going to do that right when you hit play. So we're going to try to do it all at the same time. Okay, you ready? You want to count us off? No. Okay, I'll count us off. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Wally, how did he do? Did we do a good job on our experiment? No. Can I fix it? Could you fix it? What would you fix? Maybe center him so he doesn't fall off the table? That's an improvement. Okay, so we'll center him more. Was there anything else? Or was that the main issue? If he's pointed this way, where is he going to go? Like off to the side. So maybe we should like point him straight. There we go. All right, you ready? Marta? All right, let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh no, did we hit it again? Oh, did we hit it twice? Oh, he is making sad noises like he fell off into the abyss. Let's try it again. You ready? So just hit it once and just let it go and don't hit it again. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Hey, was that good? Yes. Can you figure out how fast the little guy is going? I'll give you a moment to think. Do we have any pretty points? Kind of. At 3 feet and 4 seconds, Zoe is saying. Would you guys agree right here that's kind of pretty? Yeah. It's close, right? That's pretty close. Is there another pretty point? What was that? Time was, I'm assuming that's 4 seconds, right, even though it's not listed. 4 seconds, he is 3 feet away from the CBR. Okay, do we have another one? At 5 seconds, where does it look like he was? It had a little blurb here, but would he be like right at 4? Kind of. I think that's pretty close. Could I go to the table and maybe find a prettier point, yeah? So I'm going to click on the table and be like, ooh, the graph's kind of tricky. Let's look at the table. We could technically use any of these. I'm going to scroll through. I probably want to use something far away from 4 seconds, though. Why? Yeah, I kind of want like a bigger difference. If it's too close together, I might be like a little bit off in my error. So let me zoom down here. Anything here? I actually really like that one. How close is that? Very close. So what's my time? 2 seconds. What's my position, my feet? Can I say 1.5? Like 1.49? It's not like 1.5. How do I find my slope, aka the little guy's speed? Okay, find that real fast. You have a calculator. You could do that, or you can think about it in your head. Share it with your neighbor. I'll give you a moment. Close. Almost. I heard 1.5 over. 2. How did you get that? Subtracting. Yay, finding the difference between these two. Change in y over change in x. So what is that? 1.5 over 2. Ooh. 0.75. So 0.75 what? Turtles. No. Feet per second. Is he pretty constant and consistent in his speed? That was actually, he's going like a really nice, like consistent speed. All right, that's how you can calculate the speed of your robots. So each of you guys are going to break into groups of 2 or 3. Find your robots down here. I got a few over here, some cars, some like tarantulas. See if you can figure out their speeds. I will help you as we go. Grab a calculator. I got 3 of these guys, CBRs.
He's not moving.
So what is happening if he went this way? What is it calculating then?
Nothing. I'm not moving.
His slope would be 0.
Like the wall, right? Okay, so he likes to go left. So somebody may have to be here and like just rotate him, tilt him, but don't move him closer, but we can like rotate. So you just hit play again. So let's do the graph real fast. We just want the top graph. We don't need the, there we go. And just hit play again when you're ready. Yep. All right, so as you get your speeds, we're going to keep playing around, but we're going to get the speeds of all of them. I will answer your questions, but y'all did so good today with learning about speed and calculating, but it is tricky when you actually try it, right? You got to like do a few experiments and figure it out, especially with the little guys. All right, great job, y'all.
I'm Katie Latif John, and I'm the humanities teacher here at SF Girls. I teach English, Spanish, history, and an elective course called Mindfulness and Matters that focuses on self-care. So I really see my role as bringing out a student's writerly voice and helping them find and discover what feels authentic to them rather than trying to sound like what they think they should sound like. I aim to fill our classroom space with as many different authors and writing styles as possible. I want them to find pieces of writing that really resonate and speak to them. I think some of my favorite moments really come from how close-knit our community is and how all of the students know one another. They know us as faculty, and I think there's a real solidarity that emerges from that. I think it's become a kind of refrain to say that an educational community is close-knit, but it's really true in our case. Each of our students is so different, and to say that they accept one another feels too small almost. They really show up for one another, they're accountable to one another, they're honest with each other, and I think they make each other better, and that really comes through in the classroom setting. I think our humanities classes are really lively and full of discussion, and they all bring a different perspective that really enriches our space. All right, so today we're going to be doing an activity called Collaborative Close Reading, and we're going to start, I wanted to ask the question, have you ever heard the term close reading before? Yes? What are your associations with the term close reading?
Rereading.
Rereading, Anna?
Yeah, just paying really close attention to details.
Paying really close attention to details.
Understanding the writing.
Understanding the writing of a text. Absolutely. I really like to think about it as turning a poem or a text inside out and seeing it from many different angles. So we're going to start by reading aloud a handout called How to Read a Poem Closely that really demystifies the close reading process. So I know you have to be brave to read aloud, but I think it's really helpful to dwell on some of these steps to make the close reading process more accessible. So Anna, would you mind reading step 1? How to read a poem closely.
First things first, read it over and over. Read it out loud. Read it to someone else. Look up anything you don't understand. An unfamiliar word, place, person, myth, an idea.
Zoe.
State very literally and in 1 to 2 sentences what the poem is about. What is the most obvious statement you can make about the situation that the poem concerns itself with? Do not scare yourself with deep meaning it. Start literally.
Taylor.
What is the emotion or tone of the poem? Who is speaking in the poem, and how do they feel about what they're talking about? Remember that poems are often expressions of complicated, mixed, and conflicting emotions. Always try thinking in terms of both and rather than either or.
The poem on the page. Look at the poem. Describe the form or design. For instance, is it divided into stanzas? Does it have long or short lines or irregular? Does it follow a pattern?
Polly.
Organization. How did the poet organize the poem and why? Where, emotionally speaking, does the poem begin and where does it end? Be willing to be surprised. Things often happen in poems to turn them around.
Ava.
Repetition. Be alert to repetitions of any kind, of repeated word, sound, idea. Since repetition always serves to emphasize, what is being emphasized and why?
Phoebe.
Be very alert to word choice. Discuss the kinds of language the author uses. Are they simple, everyday words, words from a particular occupation or walk of life? Be alert to unusual words or usual words used in an unusual way. Try to say why a particular word is effective, what kind of very particular meaning it communicates, or what it suggests.
Ryan.
Figurative language. What metaphors and similes does the poem use? An author uses figurative language when more literal ways of speaking seem inadequate. Both metaphors and similes are central in comparison. Say what is being compared to what and why. Theme. Take a stab at the poem's theme. The part of it that communicates more widely and tries to say a truth. Be careful that you don't reduce the poem to a cliche. Good writing records hard-won truth. Reading them all well makes us struggle to feel, know, and express those things about living that are not easy to know, feel, or express.
The final step is assessment. It's not to suggest a reduction. Rather, a close reading should enable you to expand your understanding of the text. What insight has the close reading process given you? How has your understanding of the poem changed? So I might demonstrate 1 to 2 of these steps at a time with shorter poems throughout a unit or a course. Close reading is a really foundational skill that we revisit again and again throughout our humanities curriculum at SF Girls. So now I'm going to play a poem by Bay Area poet Ada Limon called The Raincoat. And it's read by former U.S. Poet Laureate Tracy K. Smith. So be thinking about how 1 to 2 of these steps show up as you listen to the poem. And then I'll invite you to come up, and the poem is on these posters here. And you have some markers, and I'll have you start marking up the poem with your close reading process. And of course, again, we might spend an entire class on this, but we'll just do just 1 to 2 of the steps. Be thinking about 1 to 2 that show up. So this is one of my favorite poems, and we'll listen to it first.
Today's poem by Kentucky-based poet Ada Limon is a poem of thanksgiving and realization. It's about coming to understand what it means to have been loved by a parent. The Raincoat by Ada Limon. When the doctor suggested surgery and a brace for all my youngest years, my parents scrambled to take me to massage therapy, deep tissue work, osteopathy, and soon my crooked spine unspooled a bit. I could breathe again and move more in a body unclouded by pain. My mom would tell me to sing songs to her the whole 45-minute drive to Middle 2 Rock Road and 45 minutes back from physical therapy. She'd say that even my voice sounded unfettered by my spine afterward. So I sang and sang because I thought she liked it. I never asked her what she gave up to drive how her day was before this chore. Today, at her age, I was driving myself home from yet another spine appointment, singing along to some maudlin but solid song on the radio, and I saw a mom take her raincoat off and give it to her young daughter when a storm took over the afternoon. My God, I thought, my whole life I've been under her raincoat, thinking it was somehow a marvel that I never got wet.
All right, so we'll divide you into two groups between Kaylee and Polly. So from Kaylee this way, you'll be over at this poster. And then from Polly this way, you'll be over at this poster. The How to Close Read a Poem handout is up there, and so are the markers. So all you need is to come on up and be thinking about what you just listened to. Be on the lookout for any steps of the close reading process that really spoke to you or jumped out at you as you were listening. So everybody grab a marker. So you can ask questions, you can underline words, you can look up anything that's unfamiliar. Think about the title. Remember, you're welcome to draw or doodle too. Realization and thanks. Yeah, will you write that down, Zoe? I love that. Okay, so in about 1 to 2 minutes, we'll hear a brief comment from each group on what the close reading process brought out of this poem, The Raincoat, for you. Polly, I love that. When maybe say that and present that poem. Yeah. Yeah, who wrote parallels between now and her childhood? No, it's different. Was that you? Yeah, how it's structured in a parallel way. That's really beautiful. All right. So what came out of this process? I know that there's so much more to say, and this is just a quick glimpse into this poem, but what are some things that you noticed or that you marked up on your poster? I saw some really beautiful notes and things that even I hadn't noticed.
We noticed that the title of the poem was kind of in the end, where she uses the metaphor of the raincoat, and it's kind of like conveying realization and thanks for her mom.
Yeah, realization and thanks for her mom, and I love, Zoe, what you wrote about the mom wanting her kid to be happy in her body, and Kaylee, what you noticed about that unusual word unspooled and the release that happens. This group also noticed, Polly, maybe you could speak to this, that the metaphor of the raincoat, that comparison doesn't really come out until the end, right? So there's a kind of moment of surprise or a moment of realization within the poem itself. Polly, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about how you compared it also to another poem that we've read?
Yeah, I thought it was like instructions on not giving up in the way that the title and the meaning of the title didn't really show up in the poem until like the very end.
Absolutely. It's really similar to the other poem of hers that we've read. And I love how you both noted the metaphor, both groups noted the metaphor of the raincoat. And I think this poem can encourage us to think about all of the unrecognized raincoats in our own lives and the things that protect or shelter us, even though we might not be recognizing or be as acknowledging them as actively as we could. And that's something that Ada Limon in all of her poems really encourages us to do. She said before that poetry is all about noticing. So I hope that that this poem can really encourage all of us to see something in a new light in our own lives. So thank you all so much for your lovely close readings. And yeah, you've taught me many new things about this poem.
Hi, my name is Lynn, and I'm the science teacher here at San Francisco Girls School. I'm also an advisor, as well as the volleyball and basketball coach here too. What I love about teaching science is the fact that it's hands-on. I always enjoy that it's not concrete, so basically meaning that what we knew 50 years ago isn't necessarily the same as what we know now. So we're always trying to find something new in terms of our knowledge. So that's something that I always want to convey to students, is that it's dynamic and it's ever-changing. The relationships I hope to have with these students is one that is of a mentor, mentee type. I do like the fact that these students are completely themselves and they feel comfortable to do that. And so each and every interaction with these students is unique. So I like that they're bringing their authenticity, and that I'm also doing the same. So they're seeing me in different lights and different perspectives, and not just as their science teacher. Okay, hi everyone. If you can just have a look at your tables, you will notice that there is some equipment. If anyone could please tell me what you actually see.
Tweezers.
Tweezers. What else do you see? Microscope. A microscope.
Paper.
Paper.
Pencil.
Pencil. A slide. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's talk about your microscope for a second. Describe that to me. Go ahead. Three lenses, kind of more magnification lenses. What else do you see?
There's a light at the bottom.
There's a light. Mm-hmm. What else? Go ahead, Mara.
It looks heavy.
It looks heavy. It definitely is heavy, right? So then if you have a look at this little contraption, what is this? How do you know it's a microscope? A sponge, okay. Kind of close. It was this plantar foam, right? A lot of you were looking at the liquid type of things, but it wasn't that. Okay, let's now move on to this one.
That's you.
How do you know?
Because it's your back of a tattoo.
Yes, it is. He's right here, but that was my skin. Okay, and what about this one? It's blue. Yes.
Like some kind of like mat.
Some mat? Is that what you said?
No, mat.
Net. Okay. What else? Any other ideas? A glue stick? Is that what you said? Okay. Styrofoam. Blue styrofoam. Okay. All right. Any other ideas at this point? A sponge. Anything else?
A shirt.
A shirt.
Loofah.
A loofah. You're on the right track. It was a sponge. All right, last one. What would this one then be?
Blood.
Blood, okay.
Finger.
A finger, okay. Any other guesses or predictions? A marker, okay. Shirt. Any last guesses? A cover? Okay. Anything else? Are we ready for your grand reveal? All right, it was an onion, right? So this is what you're going to look into a little bit more. So with your microscope, if you have a look at the paper towel that's on your desk, if you open it, you'll see some onion. Now, this is the red onion, and the reason why we want to have red onion is because it's already colored. So what that means is it's already stained, and so therefore we'll be able to see it a lot better in your microscope. So you can see that you have your forceps, otherwise looks like tweezers. Your job is to get a really thin piece of onion, make sure it's the red part, and to basically place it on the microscope slide. Now, with your microscope slide, it has this little pink part. Make sure that's where your fingers go. Why is that important?
Because you don't want to touch the glass or else your fingerprint might be on it?
Yeah, so we don't want to touch the glass because then our fingerprints are going to be on it and then it's going to be dirty, right? So always touch it on the pink side. So once you've peeled off a really thin piece of onion, then place it flat on top of your slide and then see what you can see on your microscope. And don't forget to turn on the light for your microscope too. Do you have any questions?
What if there's a bug?
There shouldn't be any.
Okay.
But if there is, even more fascinating. Oh. All right, go ahead and I'll be coming around to have a look. Make sure you don't just put the onion on top of your slide. Try to get something really thin. It's all wet? Oh, well, it's probably because it was in the fridge. And then it, yeah, give it a go. So put it on the top of the slide. Try to lay it as flat as possible. How are we going? Are we getting some good skin yet? Okay, all right, I'll come back.
Oh, that's smart. You're so smart.
That's a bit too thick. Yeah. Yes. You could, yeah, why don't you try both?
You think it's more for onion, like a long time? You think?
Will this
How are you going? That could work.
Okay.
Try to see what you get. Oh, that's looking good.
Okay. Is this good?
Sure.
All right.
Let's try to put it on there.
Okay.
So grab a slide.
Doesn't matter which side.
Remember to try to get it as flat as possible on your slide.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe flip it over. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, don't forget to turn on your light for your microscope. You'll also see some knobs on the side. Those are your focus knobs. So you can move the platform up and down and use them to focus in on your field of view.
Here, you can take them. Oh, you got it? All right.
All right, you'll also see some 2 metal clips. You can put those on top of your slide so that it stays secure as well. So make sure you put the metal clips on.
Oh, there's a hair on it.
Is it?
Is it closer?
I think so.
Are you actually seeing anything?
I see pink.
You see pink.
Just pink.
Okay, can I have a look? Okay, so we first need to focus it, because otherwise, yes, we will just see pink. But I don't know if this is actually doing anything. This is definitely just pink. And I think it's because this isn't moving anymore. Hang on. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, have a look there.
Oh my god.
All right, so once you have had a look and you've got a pretty good specimen, you'll see on your desk that you have a piece of paper as well as a pencil. This is now where you can basically draw what you see, okay? You see that it's circular, so use the whole thing, right? Don't do a smaller diagram in it. What you see is what you should put on your drawing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yes? Okay, you can go ahead. Yes.
Wait, I forgot about doing that.
That's okay. You can keep looking and referring.
Ovals. Like, oval with like fancy sides, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Or nucleus. Any circles?
There are like something in it.
Yeah, there are some circles.
Are they small or are they large?
Small.
Okay. All right.
Are those cells?
Yes. So what you're drawing right now, they're all cells. What type of cells are they? Plant cells. Yes.
It's a plant.
Yes,
I
I
know
knew.
it's a plant cell, but I didn't know it was an actual cell.
Yeah, so you can see them. Ooh, what do you think that is?
A round dot.
Which is what, if you remember from plants? What would you? Some are more visible than others depending on where they're at in the cell division cycle. So some might not be present because they're dividing already or starting to divide. If two are connected, then you're, then that's also possibly that it's going through some type of cellular division. That might just be the color of the onion, and it was in the fridge, so that might have affected its color. Oh, you can see that too? Let's have a look.
There's like two. There's one in like the middle-ish, and then one in the top right.
Do you remember what they're called?
Nucleus.
Yeah, good. If you have your phone, you could also put the camera lens of your phone into the microscope lens and actually take a photo of what you see. Yes, so you could also do that. It takes a little bit of, it takes a little bit of time to get there because you need very stable hands.
Oh God, I don't have that.
You should keep it on because then it, otherwise it won't be. So you might just need to move it around a little bit. So that, okay. All right, so once you've taken your photo, then you can start kind of just finishing off your drawing. And what you have basically seen are plant cells, which is what we've been working with.
My name is Crystal Sunshine, and I am the visual arts instructor at SF Girls. Students in our digital photography class have been working on a synesthesia project where they were invited to identify a song that was important to them and explore that through visual photographs that they took and then altered using Photoshop and Lightroom, using masking tools and other digital Lightroom, digital darkroom techniques, and overlay some of those images together to explore a song using different senses. Our design thinking students have been working collaboratively to design, sketch, build outdoor spaces and came up with a garden and a living wall concept that they've been working together to measure and cut wood using our compound miter saws and joining them with screws and drills and hammers. And we also have a group, our whole group of students were engaged in a metalsmithing project where they filed, sanded, cleaned, and stamped their names into circles that we embedded into a concrete cornerstone, marking the founding class of our school. So those are some of the things they have been up to. My hopes for our students are that they grow visual literacy skills so that they can really start to unpack the world around them, both media and visuals and information that they are consuming around them, but also be able to identify what they care about, what are their own voices, what matters to them, and how to use visuals to really effectively communicate and both three-dimensionally and two-dimensionally explore what the world means to them and how to more effectively explicate those ideas in different ways. I think our students are just brilliant and kind. I think they're brave in public space with each other, even though they're very different from one another. I think they're creative and thoughtful and kind. I really enjoy teaching this age group of students because they're really at this precipice of trying on different identities and learning about who they are and learning about the world around them. And I love being able to support them in this process of discovery and help unpack technical skills that are helping them express themselves and learn more about how to effectively communicate these ideas that they are developing about themselves and about the world around them.
Hi, everybody. I hope that you've enjoyed watching the demos and listening to Abby and Laura's welcome earlier. I want to dive in on academic program a bit, as well as some co-curriculars and other information. So you've heard that we are a STEM school with an emphasis also on the humanities. And so we really want to think about the fact of how to solve big problems. And STEM is our approach, and I'm going to talk about design thinking in a moment. But we're taking this approach because of the big problems of humanity. So for design thinking, there tend to be 5 stages, and there are a lot of different iterations. I'm showing this one, which is empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test. And empathy, or empathize, is related to that word that we use, as in using empathy one for another. But more so in this design thinking process, it's putting yourself in the other person's shoes to think about the problem from their perspective. They may be very different from you, and even if they are similar, you want to be thinking with a diverse mindset. And so thinking about the problem from their perspective, asking those questions, and really walking in their shoes is a big deal. You will often hear the term UX in industry as user experience, and this is sort of tied to that idea. Definition, or defining the problem, or in this case, we're going to talk about defining the challenge, is thinking about what is it that we're actually trying to do. For our open houses, we were trying to think about what information do you need in order to make a decision, a well-informed, thoughtful, meaningful decision on what is a great fit for your high school experience. Ideate, often referred to as the brainstorming phase, is coming up with lots of ideas. Prototyping is where we try those different ideas out, and then you test them and you get feedback and you iterate. When I prototyped presentations earlier this year with our students, they told me we needed a lot more photos, that it felt a little boring. So those are the types of things that you will get through that prototyping and testing phase. I wanted to lay that as our groundwork because we use this sort of mindset in addressing everything that we're doing here at school. Some of the themes. I'm going to talk about origin stories, I'm going to talk about connection and belonging, agency and empowerment, productive struggle, and scaffolded growth. And I'm going to talk about these in the sense of how are we doing what we say that we're doing. Your brochure, your program that was sent to you digitally has a lot of facts in there about graduation requirements and about our daily schedule, but I want to talk about the how of what we're accomplishing. Origin Stories is the theme of this academic year. It's also the name of our first 9th grade English class. The idea is that when you know yourself and when you can really dig in and think about your origin story, that you can then ground your perspective and look at your own biases, look at your own ways of looking at the world, and then move forward from there. As we've had speakers come and talk with us, we've asked them to share their origin stories too. So we've had 11 speakers in 12 weeks and asking each of them, how did you get here? What influenced you? As that helps us define and identify our own stories. We've been working with multiple partners throughout the city. The San Francisco Historical Society has been one of those, and they have helped us look into the origin stories of San Francisco as a city. We also met with a team of scientists from Cura Oncology talking about their stories and including their immigration stories for many of them as well. Connection and belonging. So cultivate belonging is one of our tenets. Laura's favorite is Rise to Challenge, but mine is cultivate belonging. And the way that we cultivate belonging is with connection, with relationship, and building those partnerships both within our own community and outside things. But we're starting with this idea of scaffolding it with something that feels pretty familiar, a little bit uncomfortable, but with the adults in the room who care and love and support them. I want to switch a little bit and talk about some of our extra programs outside of the core academic program. So internships and mentoring are, again, a vital component of building those courage and skills. We learn often from others. And so Madison McElwain, who is a graduate of an all-girls school herself, is leading up a mentoring program for us. So this 9th grade will be focusing on origin stories and local community and building that relationship with your mentor. Then in the 10th grade, we'll be focusing on impactful change in the global community. In the 11th and 12th grade, students will have opportunities for their internship program, and this again is where those X days being built in is very valuable for that experience. When you get to your 11th and 12th grade year, you have an opportunity to design your individualized course of study. And those buckets are social good, design, business, applied science, and exploration. Exploration is something that's very important. Not everybody knows what they want to do by the end of high school. Totally fine. But you should go about exploring your options and what those different fields like in a thoughtful manner. And so in your 11th and 12th grade year, you'll pick different classes to sort of fill out your graduation component. And it'll give a chance for you to, again, narrate your own story, prepare yourself for college, explore some different things, get an experience out in the real world through your internships, and also have practice digging deep into a passion-type project. Talking about college admissions, we've done our homework, and we feel very confident about startup schools and the college admissions rate. This is just a bit of information from a few schools with their founding class and where they ended up going to college. We'll talk more about this. There's a lot of time between 9th grade and 12th grade, but we want to let you know that we've thought about it and we're being very intentional about preparing students for the college application process. Another component of that is becoming WASC certified, and we go through that process this coming spring. All of our courses, our coursework, our graduation requirement completely exceeds the UC A to G requirements. We have a college counselor coming on board next year, and even more importantly, these are all very important, but even more importantly, every single person in this building is really approaching things from an entrepreneurial mindset, from looking at an objective and planning backwards, how are we going to get there, mirrored with Who are you? Who am I? And how am I going to be authentic and transparent and strong and brave through this process? We want you to go to college, and we want you to go to college feeling like yourself, not feeling like you've had to fit a mold. Co-curriculars are often some of the most fun parts of high school. And so we have multiple clubs. We are members of the North Coast section of the CIF. We've done volleyball this year because it was our inaugural year with just 9th graders and we didn't have large numbers for our athletic participation. We pivoted and did beach volleyball rather than the traditional court volleyball. So we learned skills in the gym, but then we're over at Ocean Beach each week practicing beach volleyball type skills as well. I'm so grateful that you've been here with us today, and I'm looking forward to answering more questions, engaging with you, getting to know you in person. My own experience, I started, my undergrad work was in physics, math, and electrical engineering. I began my career as an engineer. I feel passionate about empowering young women to do the same, and I also feel prepared for our school moving forward. I hope to see you soon.
Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Blankenship. I am here with some of our amazing class of 2025 students who are going to share with you a little bit of what being a student at San Francisco Girls School is like. And I want them to start by introducing themselves. So girls, if you would say who you are and where you went to middle school.
I'm Polly, and I went to Alta Vista Middle School.
I'm Anna, and I went to Guidepost.
I'm Taylor, and I went to Presidio Middle School.
I'm Zoe, and I went to AP GNED.
I'm Bonnie, and I went to Keys Middle School in Palo Alto.
I'm Ava, and I went to Roosevelt Middle School.
Great, thank you. Well, maybe Taylor, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you decided to come to San Francisco Girls School? What drew you to it?
Yeah, well, for many reasons I wanted to come here. One reason is because the classes and the community seemed so great. Everything about it, just that there were small classes. My parents especially really liked that I'd be getting a lot of attention from the teachers. The teachers would really know me, but I'd also really know the teachers.
Great, great. Ava, can you talk a little bit about what Taylor just said about knowing the teachers and the community? What does it feel like to be here?
Well, since our classes are very small, we have like the opportunity to get to know each and every one, and we also are very casual with each other because we have like a first name basis with the teachers, which feels like we get to know them without like that professional, I guess, what is it? Yeah, the professional distancing between the teachers and the students.
Great, thank you. Anna, can you talk a little bit more about those experiential learning days? I mean, they are sort of a key part of our program. What has been some of your favorite experiences and what do you like about them?
Yeah, I didn't really feel like I had actually had a good field trip since kindergarten. Because like experiences in the outside world just seem to stop after, those first few years. But here it feels like every 2 weeks we get to go somewhere on a field trip. And I love that because the world isn't happening within the school. It's all around. So I really enjoyed that.
Great, great. Thank you. Zoe, can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be in an all-girls school? You came from a big co-ed public school, and now you're in an all-girls school. What does that feel like?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot different, but it's really just like having one big friend group. It's not super different, and it's nice to know everyone, like, very personally. And it might take some getting used to, but it's not too much different than you would think.
Great. Bonnie, can you tell us a little bit about some of the classes and what do classes feel like? What are some of your favorite classes or favorite things that you're doing in your classes?
Yeah, so the classes are 1 hour and 30 minutes long each, and I don't know, they're a lot of fun. I personally enjoy them quite a lot. I enjoy the learning experience. I enjoy being able to talk to my teachers and my peers and just all the feedback, and I don't know, it's it's a very feedback-based learning system, which means that there's a lot of stress removed, which is very helpful because I get stressed really easily. And so getting rid of that sort of perfectionism aspect of it is very helpful for me. Currently my favorite class is biology, and I just enjoy the kind of hands-on learning experience and enjoy the amount of research we're doing. It's a lot of fun for me.
Great. I wonder, Taylor, if you might talk a little bit about homework. Vani sort of mentioned that classes are a little less stressful. How do you find the homework load here?
Well, it kind of depends. So some days I'll have like a lot of homework, but none of the stuff is like homework just to give you homework. Like it's actually homework that it's not just a worksheet and then they just give it to give you a worksheet just to fill your time. It's actually like work that you're doing in class and like following through with that work. So that's something I really like because the teachers in the past, they've just given me, some of them have just given me worksheets to do, to just fill that kind of like gap. And this school doesn't do that. Like they actually want us to do homework that will actually be beneficial. And actually we can remember what we were doing in class that day and then do more homework. And a lot of it is like projects. So some projects we're doing, especially in English class, we're doing a project right now, and a lot of that has been my homework.
Great. Polly, would you like to comment on the classes and the homework and what it feels like?
Yeah.
What some of your favorite things are?
Well, one thing that I've really noticed is that the teachers are very flexible with their curriculum. So they won't mind going off on a tangent if there's we want a bit more information about something, or like if it seems like all the work is not going to get done within the class period, they'll like push it to the next class instead of giving us like a lot of homework. And they're also very understanding when it seems like maybe the homework load is too much, and very willing to talk with us, the students, if there's anything that can be changed to make that easier on us.
Great, thank you. I know we just had our first experience with grades, so it's new. Great. Anna, do you want to talk a little bit about what we do outside of classes? What are some of the fun things that we've done that are not related to our academics?
Well, we have Wednesdays, which is kind of like a free day that changes what happens. Kind of run beach cleaning club / environmental club, where we're cleaning up beaches most Fridays. And then on Wednesdays again, we're kind of designing the school spaces, which haven't quite been formed. So I'm doing work the outside area that we have in back to make planters and plant flowers and all sorts of tables and things like that.
Great, right. Is anybody else in a club that they would like to talk about? Or we have beach cleaning, volunteer club. What are some other clubs that we have?
We haven't started it yet, but I'm in Student Activities Club.
Oh, right.
And so that will be like planning things for the school and just helping out.
Yeah, and what are some of the activities that we have planned in the future?
Well, tonight actually there's going to be a not exactly a Thanksgiving potluck, but like a giving thanks potluck. And then we have a winter formal coming up, so Student Activities Club will probably with that.
And then what did we just announce yesterday?
Oh, we have a lock-in, which is where we basically have this nice big sleepover at the school and play a bunch of games, and then,
Yep, that's great. Lots of fun things planned, mostly led by all of you, so thank you for taking that on. Vani, do you want to talk a little bit about our electives and some of the electives that we have, and maybe also our sports, such as they are?
So right now in the fall term, we currently have kickboxing and digital photography. Obviously the fall term is ending by the end of this week, but that next term we also had stuff like improv, computer sciences, like programming. I believe that there's 2D art, so kind of painting. This year though, I was part of photography, and we have been learning how to just kind of play around in like Lightroom, Photoshop. It's been a lot of fun. For sports, this term we've been doing volleyball, which I've been a part of. It's interesting. We kind of it's a lot of fun. I don't know how to phrase this, but it's a lot of fun, and it's really nice just getting to know my classmates and my friends a lot better. Next term, we were planning to do basketball. We're still seeing how that's going to work itself out. And the term after, we're doing some sort of running, so either cross country or track and field.
Yeah, thank you. And I know for a lot of our students, this was the first time they played volleyball, and it was a great opportunity to get to do something new that you might not get to do at another high school, so that's great. I wonder if, Polly, maybe you want to talk a little bit about the schedule and what's different about it and what you like about it.
Yeah, so our schedule, we have 2 to 3 classes a day, I think like Lonnie said earlier, in 90-minute classes, and then we also have a chunk of what is called studio time, but is called study hall in other places, but basically just, you know, work on our homework, any projects, talk to teachers if we need to. Like many other things at the school, the schedule is still changing a lot, and there will be some things changing up for next term. But the general structure of the schedule, I think, is having longer classes so you can like do more within the class periods, and then giving ample time to take a brain break or make sure that you have everything done that you need to get done.
Great. Taylor, can you talk a little bit about the schedule? What do you like about it?
I really like how the classes are long, but they don't meet every day. That basically means for me that I get a lot more done in that whole an hour and a half. Before that, my classes at my other school, it was like 50-minute classes, and I felt like that was a little too short. We were often rushed, and it didn't really work out as I would plan, and we had it every day. This time, I feel like there's a lot more time to, you do a lot in class, but you also have a ton of time. Since we don't have it every day, you have a ton of time to follow through with the stuff you learn, really like process that information that you learned, and then come with that information or homework or studying to the next class. So I really like those we have a long schedule. So I really like the long classes with the short or different reading times during the week.
Yeah, great. Anna, can you talk a little bit about the transition to high school? What has it been like? I mean, what has been some of the best parts about it? What has been sort of your experience of being in high school so far?
Well, I was particularly nervous because, like, I'm not a fan of homework. But I like, because the school is so small, they were so willing to respond to my concerns, and, like, I'm not adjusting to this, what can I do? And so it's just been, like, they're processing feedback and make the transition easier for us, but also changing up kind of our thoughts of what high school is. It's not like just teachers lecturing for hours, but actually experiencing things. And in most ways, more interesting than I think middle school was for me.
Great, great. Zoe, I wonder if you can sort of describe what the feel of your classes. What, you know, people ask me, like, what's the student body like? Are there words that you can put? Is there like a single word that would describe the class, or what do you all feel like as a group?
It's really like engaging when you're in class. It's not really like you're, I don't know, just like trying understand this, and how does this work? And as for like the student like vibe, it's like really nice and welcoming and comforting, and you just feel like, well, this is one of our main focuses this year, but belonging. You feel like you belong. Like I said before, it's like one big friend group. So no matter who you're with, you always feel like you always have something to talk about, or you just don't feel awkward, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I see a lot of you nodding. Is that how you would describe? Anybody want to add to how you would describe the vibe of the student body?
For me, the student body is energetic and chaotic, but it works and it feels like family. I don't know, it's everything that Zoe said. It's comforting, it's welcoming, and it's also pure chaos.
Yeah, I know like one of the biggest concerns one of the concerns that I had when I was looking at the school is like, it's going to be such a small student body, what if I don't like anybody? But now being here, everybody, I mean, obviously not everybody's going to be best friends, and you're not going to spend every second of every day with everybody, but we all get along really well, and it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to make at least one good friend, but probably a lot more than that.
Ava, did you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, sometimes I think about it, and I always think of this like, we're all on the same boat. We're all new to high school, we're all freshmen. We're all like, oh, this is such a small school. I wonder like if I will be making friends. And because we're all on the same boat, it's like we don't like judge each other or really it's hard to explain. Oh crap.
It's just like everyone is who they are.
Yes.
And it's just that way.
Everyone expects that you are who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody like, it's kind of, nobody questions it. It's just, you are who you are, and then after that, everybody else can just deal with it.
That's basically what I say to everybody when they ask me what's special about you all. I say, well, they're authentic selves, and they get to be their authentic selves wherever they go, whatever they're doing, whoever they're talking to. One of the things I want to wrap up with is, you all were talking about the relationship with each other. What about the relationship with the faculty and staff? What does that feel like?
It feels a lot the same. Obviously, you're probably a lot closer with your peers and your classmates than you are with your teachers. But your teachers are really welcoming, and it feels like you could talk to them about everything, or anything. Like if you're like, oh, I don't know what this means, even though you gave me the homework a couple days ago, they'll be like, yeah, it's fine, it's whatever. You could have come to me sooner, but.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'd like to add something. So with the staff, I feel like the staff, not just the teachers, they all really, they don't talk down to you, I guess. They talk like with you. So if you have an idea, they'll actually listen. And they really care about what we think of the school and what we think of our classes and everything. So they really want to hear our voices, and part of the whole like objective of the school is to get us to have like strong, powerful voices, and listening to us is definitely a big thing for that.
And they're like actually invested in making sure we understand what's going on, that we're having a learning experience. They care about that, as opposed to just throwing everything at you and you have to like scramble to figure everything out. But definitely, like you've all said, very welcoming and makes you not afraid to ask questions, really.
That's great. That's great. Well, I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you all so much for your contributions. It's so wonderful to hear what you have to say.